HTML and CSS. And as I told you earlier, you probably have a laptop, right? So we're gonna implement in this tutorial some website. Okay. So here is the learning objective. So after this tutorial, you guys should be able to implement this very simple website. Okay. This is the current lecture. So students will be able to build the following website on codepen.io. We'll get to it later. But hey, do you have experience in building websites? Raise your hand. Okay, I think we'll sort of have. All right, so we need to talk about how to build this website. And if we want to build something on a computer, we need to have a programming language, right? Like Python or C, C++. We always have some language to implement something. And here's the language. There is a language called HTML. It stands for Hypertext Markup Language, so HTML. But what you need to know is HTML is a language for creating web pages. This is just simple, my definition. Okay? So if you want to build a web page, then you have to use HTML. Okay, does it make sense? And we'll learn about what the HTML is. And as I told you before, all the websites have to be built by this HTML. And that means we also have our course website, right? And our course website also should have HTML source code, right? So let's see the source code of our course web page. This is our website, right? And to see our source code, you can right-click, and there is a browse page source, and then there is a weird code, right? This is a code that follows HTML. Does it make sense? So basically, every web page has this kind of code. And here language is HTML. And because HTML is a language, it has some syntax or grammar or something like that. Does it make sense? So we'll get to it. All right. So here we have web browser, right? Like Chrome or Internet Explorer or Firefox. That software is called web browser. And as the words say, it basically runs web. So it renders and interprets the web page. Basically, web page is built by, so the web page is basically a source code, and web browser presents the source code into a graphical things. Okay? So whenever you want to see some web pages, you have to use this web browser. And that's what we are all doing, right? We use Chrome or Explorer to see some web pages. And different web browsers may present different results. Like we have Internet Explorer and Chrome. All the things are different software, which means they have different algorithm to interpret and renders a web page. And it becomes really serious if you want to implement something that's really usable out there. What's that? So if you want to build some web page that's really usable out there, it becomes really serious. So we'll use the latest version of Chrome for your all assignments. So we have 3 different assignments, and all the assignments is about web programming. And we're going to use this latest version of Chrome web browser. So you should not use any other browsers for the assignment. Does it make sense? Okay. So make sure you're using the browser. So this is the first step of learning the programming language. So let's present Hello World on Chrome browser. You don't need to follow this step. So I will make a text file. Let's say hello world. And we're gonna type some code in here, okay, that presents hello world. And the basic structure of HTML is looks like this. This is called tag, okay, a basic component of HTML language. So here we call it HTML tag. And HTML tag has opening tag and closing tag, okay. So inside of it, we also need to have this head and body. So in the head tag, so this is opening head tag, and this is closing head tag. And here we're gonna include some meta file, we'll get to it later. But more important thing is the body. So we're gonna put something here to present something on the web browser. Okay, so this is the real content of your website, and this is a meta content of your website that sometimes doesn't need to be presented in the web browser. You know what I mean? So this is the actual content, and I'll say hello world here. And this will present hello world. So this is the code, and I want to see whether it works well or not. And how should we do? This is the code. This is not a web page, right? How should we do it? Who presents some website? Who? Web browser, right? So we need to execute a web browser to see whether it actually presents something that we want, right? So how do we do it? This is the Chrome, the web browser. And we need to, this is the code. And if you put here, oh, no. This is a text file. Let's switch. Oh, sorry. I want to open the file. Where is the extension? So here is the extension txt, and I will change this into HTML. Then it will render the source code and tells you hello world. Okay? Are you following how it works? Okay, this is very simple. But this is not our objective today. And this is the actual, thing that we want to build. And as you might see before, this is very complicated procedure. First you need to type some code in text file, and you need to change the extension, and need to open it and see the web browser. And if you see, oh, there is something wrong, then you need to get back to the source code and type something and see again, right? This is so complicated, procedure. To solve this problem, we have a special sort of platform, which is called codepen.io. Use your computer and please go to this website, codepen.io. Does it work? Charger? Is it not working?
Yes.
I don't know how to make it work, but yeah, we'll find a way. Is there anyone who also have some trouble because of the charger?
I have some problem, but the charger doesn't work.
Yeah, because of the charger. Any other person? So we have outlet there, so she will help you guys. I hope.
Maybe can you share this one? The other?
Is the charger working for other places?
We have 3.
Okay. So here's the website, and there is a create pen here. You don't need to sign up. Click create a pen, and let's go. Leave the tour. Do you see this website on your computer? So yeah, this bottom plane will show the result. Okay, it will present your code. And here we have 3 different planes that we will cover. Here we'll cover today this HTML and CSS part, and we will cover JS part in next week, in the next tutorial. And so we don't need JS today, and now we also don't need CSS. We'll get to that. So basically, here, if you type some code, then it will show the result. That's simple, right? Let's say I want to remove world, then it will just automatically show hello. Okay? So maybe I want to put the code there, put the default code. Body. So this is the code that I typed before, right? And this is the result. So using this CodePen.io, we can sort of conveniently show the result whenever we changes the code. Does it make sense to you? Okay, so today we will use this CodePen.io for building a website. All right, so let's talk about it. How do we make a fancy website? This is something really fancy, right? So what are some special things? Let's say if I typed hello world, it just shows a text, but it looks something different, right? It also contains some text, but it also contains some other things. What are the things? Colors. We have colors, they're blue. Font. Table, we have table. Font size, we have larger font size here. Bullet points, right? But this is not a thing. Sorry. We also have some hyperlink, right? If you click this, then you'll go to another website. So yeah, this is something different, and we also have this horizontal line, right? So here, larger font size, we have font color, horizontal line, and hyperlink, listing bullet points, and table. And here, we also have some Italy font, right? Italy. To do that, we need to learn something different. So this hello world just cannot build something like this, right? So we need to learn something different. Font, horizontal line, hyperlink, listing, different font. And here also we have different margin here. Right? And we also have table. So how do we do it? Let's write code after me. I will write code here while I explain it. Okay. So let's open the CodePen.io. Is the font size good for you guys? Is it it too small?
Yes.
Too small?
This is very small.
Like it's not really visible. But is it okay now? Alright, the first thing is we will write our name here, but it should have larger font size, right? So here we need H1 tag. And also I need to close H1 tag. And this tag is called header. And the 1 is header number 1. So if you type your name here, then there's a very large font, right? And also right below it, we also need to write our department name, but a little bit smaller than this. At that case, we can use header 2 and write your department. And this font size is larger than this, right? And after that, we need to write this we need to have horizontal line. To present horizontal line, you can type HR/. Is it okay for you? Are you following me? Okay. And now we need to write, hi, I'm blah blah blah. I'm taking a CI course. We have course activities in this semester as follows. So let's type this. Hi, I'm person. I'm taking introduction to HCI course. We have course activities in as follows. But here, we need to have hyperlink, right? And I'm pretty sure that some of you have some questions about, let's say, how do we know this H1, H2, HR present something different, right? I'm actually memorizing this, so I know it, but you guys still don't know, right? Which other, like I told you this is called tag, and there's a lot of different tags here. And I memorized some tags like HR or H1, H2, but you're not really familiar with that, right? And now we need to include this hyperlink, and I'm about to say something, hey, just do it, then it works, right? But it is not really beneficial for you guys. So in this case, you need to search something to do something you want. Does it make sense? So we're gonna search something to present a link here. What could be the pairing? Here, let's say HTML, adding hyperlink. Then there's a lot of results. Let's go to the first one, HTML links. And there's the information, blah, 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 and here we go. So this is the syntax. So if we type this into our website, then it will work. And let's see it actually works. So the name of tag is A, so we call it A tag. Okay? The name of tag is A, and here we have something looks like this. It looks like we're gonna put some value to this href. looks like this, right? So here we call it attribute. All right, and we call this as value. So it means there's an A tag with a attribute href, and we'll put this URL as a value of this attribute. Does it make sense? So we need to add link here, introduction to HCI. So this is the text, right? So before the text, we will add a tag, and after the tag, we'll close the tag. But it doesn't show any link here because we haven't specified any attribute. So here href is equal to something, and if you click this, then it will redirect to this URL. So textlab.org courses, what's the name? CS3W. Then it turns into blue. 근데 여기 한번 봐주시겠어요?
어디 안 들어오나요?
이쪽에 안 들어온다.
그래요?
Anyone who cannot use the power? 이 줄이랑 저 줄도 안 돼요. So if you click this, oh, it's not found. If you click this, then it will work. Are you guys following me here? Okay. So the next thing is presenting some bullet points here. And we don't know how to do it. Then search. Yeah, that's what you will do in your assignment as well. So we are gonna also search like HTML listing or bullet points. Then there's also something here, but I heard that this website W3 Schools is sort of outdated, and the most up-to-date website is MDN. So in your query, please include this MDN here. Then there is a website Mozilla. It contains sort of up-to-date information. Luckily, we have example here, so we don't need to read anything. So here the tag name is UL, right? Inside of the UL, we also have LI, and it seems this LI element is turned into some listing bullet point, right? So UL, LI, please memorize it. So here we'll type UL, and inside of it we'll type LI, and first design project. Then there is a bullet point. Other things is studios, in-class activities, programming assignments. So I will copy it and 3 times. Here, studios. And in class activities, and design topics. Programming assignments. Are you following me? Is it good? Okay. So far, we presented this larger font size and horizontal line, hyperlink, and bullet points. Now, we need, if you want to contact me, following information. If you want to contact me, please refer to the following information. And we need table here. So let's search. My query would be MDN table. So there's a MDN table here. The first one. And this is the example. But it looks like sort of complicated table. Is there any simpler one? It looks better. And it shows so this is the most simple source code. The name of the tag is table, right? And inside of the table, we have three different things, tr, th, and td, right? So here, the result of this code is this. First name, last name, John Doe, Jane Doe. First name, last name, John Doe, Jane Doe. Okay. So this tr tag is table row. So it will present a single row. And inside of the single row, we have two columns. The first column is first table, first name, and second one is the last name. Okay? So this is the first row, second row, and the third row. And each column is presented by TD. Okay? And there's TH as well, which is just table header. So often in the very first row, each column is sort of header. So we type TH here, TH, TH. And other than that, we type TD, 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 TD. Okay? And let's forget about TH, we'll use just TD. So here we have 3 rows, right? And 2 columns. So we need to use table here, right? And we have 3 rows, which means we need to have 3 TRs, right? TR, TR, TR. And each TR, we need to have 2 TDs, because we have 2 columns, right? Does it make sense? Okay. So, we'll type table tag here. And we have 3 rows. So TR, TR. We have 3 rows. And each row, we have 2 columns. So here, TD. I'll copy it and also paste it here as well. Does it make sense? questions so far? Yes.
Can you show your HTML page?
My result? Below? It has nothing because there's no contents here. So we have phone, email, office. So here my phone number is this. This is my actual phone number. And email is here, and office N1 64. Now we have this table. But there's something unexpected. What's it?
No.
There's no border, right? But there is a border here. But it seems there's not. So we need to specify it. I'll tell you. There's an attribute called style. It contains almost everything about graphical thing. So here, border or like margin or color, size, everything is about presentation. And all about presentation is should be specified here in the style attribute. Does it make sense? So now we want to add some border line around the table. That's about presentation. So we'll specify something here. Here border is going to be 1 pixel. This is about thickness, how thick the border is. And we also need to specify the style of the line. Solid is very naive line. But if you say double, no double. Maybe dotted. Then there is a dotted line. So the style of line, also there is a lot of different kinds of lines there. So you can specify the type of the line. Here we're going to use solid, the basic line. Okay. But it still looks different, right? We have kind of double line. But the outmost line is the line of table, border of table. And this inner line is the border of each cell. Okay? So that means we need to specify the border here in the TD as well. Does it make sense? TD. So I'll copy this style and paste to all the TDs. So now you understand how it forms. And also we have something special here. This is a bolded text. This is thick, right? And to do that, we also have a tag, a B tag. If you specify B here, then the text is going to be thicker. Are you following me? Okay. Now we are almost done. The last thing is comment CS374 is awesome, which is true. So here comment CS374 is awesome, but here the font should be Italy. So we're going to use I tag here. I means Italy. Is it okay? Alright. And one minor thing is there's also a margin here, a space between two things. So let's add this space first, like top of the table. So let's go to table. And to add the space, we have margin top. That means the space on top, right? Margin top. And I would say 5 pixels. Yeah, let's say 20. Then the space becomes bigger. Margin top 20 pixels. Are you following me? Is it good? Also for this space, we can do the same thing. And this is the bottom of the table, so we can say here margin, semicolon, margin bottom, also let's say 30. Good? Any questions? It was our objective, but we have something left. But any questions? No?
Margin thing doesn't work.
Margin doesn't work. Questions? Am I teaching very well, or you're just not interested in it? Can I move on? Okay. So, we built this very fancy website. And this is a summary. What is HTML? Simply speaking, it is a language for creating a website. All the website has this source code. And we also discussed how to browse the source code of existing website, right? We can simply click, right-click, and browse source code, right? And different browsers may present different results, like Firefox, Explorer, Chrome. They all could present differently. So we need to use consistent, web browser for our assignment, right? So you need to use Chrome, the latest version of the Chrome. And here were the terms. This is called tag, and a single pair of tag is called element. Okay. So each HTML code consists of elements, right? Elements, opening tags and close tags elements. That consists of tags, and each tag could have attributes, right? What was the attribute of a tag? href. That specifies the URL, right? What was the border? The name of the border. So I mean, the border is the name of attributes, right, of the table, right? So each tag could have different attributes for its own. And here's the lesson. You don't need to memorize all the tags. As you implement something, then you will memorize a lot of tags, but at first, like now, we don't know what they are, right? So you need to search something, and there is like tons of different tags you even cannot imagine. So whenever you want to do something, and you don't know how to do it, then please search on MDN. That's the latest that is the up-to-date information. Okay? And you will face a lot of difficulties regarding these issues. Like I don't know how to do it. Or I cannot memorize all the things. Just search. Okay? So this is the HTML. And once I showed this CodePen.io, there was three different planes, right? On the left, we had HTML. In the middle, we had CSS. And on the right, we had JS. So these are sort of building blocks of our website. And we call it as separate of concerns. Okay? Separate of concerns. What it tells is we're going to have three different blocks, and each block will focus on something unique. Okay? So in the very bottom, we have HTML, which is about structure of your website. So let's think about the source code. We have elements, right? HTML, and inside of it we have head tag and body tag, and inside of it we also have some tag like table, tr, td, whatever, right? That's all about structure. The element, the structure is about the relationship between each element, right? The table was inside of the body, and body was also inside of the HTML. That's all about relationship between elements. Okay? So the HTML code basically specifies the structure of your website. Okay? And here we have CSS. This is another type of code, different from HTML, and it is about presentation. What was the presentation? The example of presentation, like border or margin. It is sort of different from structure, right? We have same structure, but there's a tons of different way of presenting it, like how thick the border should be, or like the size of font, which is different from structure of our website, right? So for presentation, we'll use CSS. This is also another kind of code, another kind of language. Okay, so we have HTML and we have CSS for presentation, and we also have this JS, JavaScript, for action of your website. So let's say you click something, then there's some message like pops up. It's not about structure. It's sort of about presentation, but it is about action. What your website can do something for you. If you click something, then it will automatically send some email for your, let's say, professor. It is about action, right? So your website can do something for you. To specify some information like action, you need to use this JavaScript. Does it make sense? So remember, we have three building blocks in your website: structure, HTML, presentation, CSS, and behavior, action, JavaScript. So to finish your website, basically you need to understand three different languages. Okay? But these are sort of simple. HTML, all you need to remember is elements, tags, some attributes, that's it. If you don't know, then Google it. That's all about the language. CSS, it is also super simple. We'll get to it. And JavaScript, it is sort of complicated compared to that, but it is like similar to, like, let's say Python or C. So you should learn it, but it should not be very complicated for you guys. Okay, So remember, 3 building blocks: structure, presentation, behavior. And we covered the structure, and we'll cover this presentation today as well. Like we have 10 minutes left, but that's enough. So in this tutorial, we'll cover these 2 layers, and in the next tutorial, we'll talk about JavaScript. Okay? So CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet, but all you need to remember is it is about presentation. Okay? And this is one thing that's enough. So to present something, our web browser takes this CSS box model, which means that each element is basically presented as a box, as a rectangular. Okay, so our table is rectangular shape, and I'll show you. This is our course website, and CSS box model tells you that all the elements here is basically a box, and it looks like there's a lot of boxes here, right? If you put Control, Shift, and I, there is a very weird thing here, and this is the HTML code. It looks like HTML head, body, div, something. So it looks like HTML code, right? But you don't need to interpret this. But what I want to show is, if you click this mouse icon, then you can browse all the boxes here. And as you can see here, all the things are basically box, right? There's no circle. There's no diamond. All the thing is rectangular shape. So here, updates or CS374, grading, design project, all the things are basically boxes. Does it make sense? So here, design project, and the corresponding tag is li. And it looks li, right? This is a bullet point, so it should be li. So this is one thing you should remember about how to present something. Web browser deal with all the text into box. Does it make sense? So this is a box. This is a box, and there is something called margin and padding, content border. And here the border is literally the border of the box. And in the outside of border, we have margin. We already specify the margin of the table, right? So if we specify margin size as 20 or 30 pixels, then it will grow up 30 pixels. We also have padding. The padding is in the between content and border. Okay. So there are 4 different things for a single box. So every box has these 4 things. So we can change some properties of that. Okay. So let's go back to our code and focus on each of these. First of all, we had no font color, right? To specify, I will do this here. To specify, we can say style, color should be blue. Then it turns to blue color, but it is this information is inside of HTML code, not the CSS, right? And this is about presentation, not the structure. So we can specify this information, please color this into blue. We can specify this information into CSS as well. So this this is the CSS plane. We are gonna specify some code here as well. But first of all, so let's see how I do it. I will first specify the identifier of this box. Okay. I'll make an identifier of this box. Let's say my name. Then this is the name of this box. And in the CSS, I will call this ID. No, I will see this ID and make it blue. Okay. So in the CSS, I will say sharp ID, by name. Like this. So does it make sense how it works? So here, my name is the name of the box, name of the element, and we already specified here ID attribute as my name. Then my name is going to be the name of this box. And in the CSS, what we did was, hey, please turn the color into blue for the my name object. Okay? Make sense? And also like this. This information is also about presentation, right? Border or margin, something like that. This is not about structure, right? This is about how to present something. And as you can see here, the statement in the style can be written in the CSS. Basically, they are in the same effect. They have the same effect. So, first, I will say the name of table should be like info. And I will copy this and paste it here. But this time, the name of object is info, and the sharp means this is the ID of the object. If you remove this sharp, then it doesn't work. Sharp means this is the name of the object, like identifier. And I'll paste this. So border, 1 pixel solid, margin top 20 pixels, margin bottom 30. Then it has the same effect. Okay? But there is a fundamental difference, which is first time we specified all the information in the HTML, which means it contains not only structure but also presentation. Right? These two things are not separated before. But now it sort of only has what we still have this style. But what we want to do is we want to extract all the presentation related information and put this into CSS. And which is about separate of concerns. We want to make something, we want to put something related to structure here, and we want to put something here related to this presentation. Okay? And also, as you can see here, there's a lot of TD with style border, right? And here's the benefit. we can kind of specify, let's say, make all the TD have this border. You know what I mean? So what I want to do is not individually, not apply this rule individually, but I want to sort of add it in a bulk way. So let's remove all the style here. Then there will be no border now on the border on the table. Yes, yeah. Now, I will say make all TDs have border. Okay. To do that, I will say just TD, not sharp. And sharp means the identifier. But here, no sharp means the name of the tag. So for all the tag with name TD, I will apply this style rule. Okay. So border 1 pixel solid. Then the border shows up for every cells. Okay. Does it make sense? Not that complicated. So we learned two things. The first one is how to separate those two things. And to specify an element, we can give ID for attribute here, right? So that we can access some specific elements here as well, right? But if we wanna like apply this rule to all the tag, then we can specify here just tag without sharp. Okay. One more thing. Let's say I wanna make this bold. But these are all the same tag with this one as well. So we cannot do this similar thing. Our strategy is to give some groups here. Not identifier, not about text, but give them group. And we apply this rule into the groups. Does it make sense? To do that, we have class attributes. And here we will specify the name of group. So let's say HE. And HE here, and HE here. And here the phone, email, office will be contained in a HE group, right? And I will do dot HE. That means this is the group. Not the identifier, not the tag name, but the name of the group. And how to make it bold? Text style bold. No.
Font weight.
Font weight. Thank you. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. Font weight bold. Then it applies to all the same groups, right? So that's it. You need to remember three things: ID and class, and this only tag info. Now know the difference between those? Okay. So this is a summary. CSS is a language for presenting something. It is different from the structure, right? You now know how the difference between CSS and HTML. HTML is about structure, CSS is about presentation, right? And what is the topmost layer? JavaScript, which is about action or behavior, right? And we'll get to it in next week, okay? So this is about separation of concern, separation of contents, presentation, like structure, presentation, and behavior, okay? So we can apply same formats to all elements with a tag and a group of elements by using class and just an element. And we need to specify this ID attribute. Okay. And don't forget to add here sharp here and dot here in the CSS code. Okay. But please make sure to node CodePen.io for your assignments. In your assignments, you need to work on your local file, not on the website. Make sure that this is just for remove some unnecessary jobs. But for your assignment, you need to use your own local file. Okay? And we're gonna, we already provided some, default code, like skeleton of the code, and you can just work on it. The code is, like, I told you the code, like language, and you need to apply this knowledge for your assignment, okay? So submit your zip file and upload into Dropbox. And next tutorial will be JavaScript, basically about how to make the web page do something, like send an email or calculate something, okay? Like increase the size of font when I click a button or send an email with contents that user already typed. These are all about actions, not about structure like presentations, right? So we'll learn how to do it in next week. And I'll briefly mention the GitHub. So GitHub, you probably heard about GitHub before, right? It is a very well-known platform that supports some collaborative software development. You don't need to use GitHub or Git for your assignment, but you do need to use this for your project, okay? For your design project. So you need to learn it, but not immediately. You will need to use this GitHub from early May. So it is not about now, but you need to do it from early May. And one of the good things is there is a huge amount of resources on the web. Here is one recommended thing. There's an interactive web. So if you go to this website, then you can just try something like basically interact with web to learn GitHub. So it is really a good way of learning this. But in the YouTube, just type GitHub. Then there's huge amount of resources that effectively teaches you how to use GitHub. Much better than me. Okay? And it is not an immediate item, but you need to use it from early May. So please be prepared at that moment. So yeah, that's it for today. Any questions? Any question or feedback? The class was so boring or yes. CSS 5 for your what? Right. So that's a good point. In the HTML, we had head and body. And head contains some meta file like that. So in the head, we need to specify the CSS file to connect with it. If there's no question, that's it for today.